Hello guys, Ashley here, also as Ashley fan, back there with another video, and today I'm going to be making a Cobra Kai rant, and I want to talk about Season 4, Episode 5, and why I feel like this episode, everybody was pissing me off, and when I mean everybody, I mean in particular, Daniel, as much as I love him, yes, Johnny and Sam, they all were like getting on my nerves, and I feel like not only that with this episode, I kind of really just want to go on a side rant on the favoritism a little bit between Johnny and Daniel as characters, and I kind of just like I just really want to understand, because like I don't hate Johnny as a character. I actually really do enjoy him. Are there certain storylines and certain side plots where it's like, what? Yes, but I feel like overall as a character, I really do enjoy Johnny. I feel like overall as a character, I enjoy Daniel. I feel like the favoritism, like when people say it feels like it's the Johnny show, I can't help but feel like it is. And this is one of the rants I went on when I made my season 2, and it was, what's the point of keeping a lot of these characters on if you're just going to make it crystal clear that who you care about is Johnny? And I feel like half the time in the show, he's really not. A lot of the, like I said, like a lot of the side plots that he do have are not that interesting to me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people feel that way too about Daniel, which I'm not even going to like sit here and act like it's not. Like some of the car stuff and some of the car, there was, I'm trying to remember, I know there was some car dealership stuff in season 1, but I don't think there was a whole lot. But like I do remember there being some, and like there's a lot of other stuff too. Like there's a whole plot I believe in season 3 with no, not season 3, it's season 2, with him trying to make things right with his wife. I'm just thinking like, okay, that's romantic and whatever and everything, but I don't care. Can we get back to the drama, please? And like there are a lot of side plots that I feel like that they waste on stupid shit when they could be doing interesting storylines or bringing up an interesting storyline. But what I want to get to the root of this episode is, this is where Terry Silver comes back, and Daniel and Johnny start bickering again this episode. This pissed me off so bad, knowing that in episode 2 they literally just wiped clean of the problems they had with the karate stuff. They literally just wiped this all clean, and they literally just like get back to the, like, it was ridiculous to me. Like I thought it was really dumb. Like when people say this is repetitive, I feel like the bickering and shit with them is very repetitive, because it's like, it's so dumb. And like when Allie said they're more alike than they like to give themselves credit for, at first I'm thinking like, there's like nothing alike about them. But she's totally right. They both are controlling. They both are stubborn sometimes, and they both kind of like want things to be in their way. And like I hate in the show that it seems like they try to make it seem like Johnny is none of those things, when honestly he's stuck in his ways just as much Daniel is when it comes to karate. But it seems like Daniel is the one that they try to always pinpoint as the self-righteous one when it comes to karate, which is very annoying. Like, it's very annoying. They pretty much get into a whole, Daniel tries to say that he wants to take over the whole karate sessions, which to me I thought was ridiculous, because we are here to fight together as a dojo. We are here to put ourselves together as a dojo. How are you just going to tell him that you want to take over the whole karate thing? And then for them both to blame it on them being drunk, it's like, no, y'all didn't look drunk, y'all didn't seem drunk, so don't give me the drunk card. They seem perfectly fine. Like, but I could understand I could understand him being mad about that, but for him to turn it into about the whole 1984 karate fight, I am getting sick and tired. When I tell you that I'm sick and tired, like, I was like, I don't think he mentions that after that, but seriously, the first 4 seasons, Johnny was not able to let go of this 1984 fight. It's like, dude, you lost, so what? Get over it. Like, you're so obsessed with the fight that we had in 1984. It's like, dude, like, you need to let it go. Like, seriously. And like, it was like, I just can't believe he made about a fight, and then for him to like pretty much tweet all over the goddamn internet that him and Daniel are going to have a 3-point to the finish fight on who could take over the karate lessons, and different be like, hey, maybe there can be another way. And like when Daniel said there is only one way, and it's the Miyagi-Do way. I'm thinking like, are you serious? No. What the writer should have wrote is him saying that this fight is ridiculous, and this one talk about both of them being stubborn. Instead of one of them stepping up and saying that this fight is ridiculous, they both agreed to this ridiculous fight. Which I thought the fight was good, but I feel like they both were kind of holding back a little bit. Like, it's like they kind of really didn't want to hurt each other, and it's like, this is a fight. But, like, I kind of hate they both were stuck in their own way. Like, what was the point of bringing this together if you weren't going to want to make this work? Like, it was just ridiculous to me. Like, for him to come in there and be like, there is a different way, and for him to say, Daniel, do you think you're not wrong about anything? It's like, Johnny, what about you? Like, you are stuck in your way just as much as he is. So why does he have to be the one to step up and admit it? Why can't you admit it? Like, it's ridiculous to me. Like, I find it absurd that whenever, it's like whenever Daniel has an opinion about his karate, everybody is just like, oh, my dude is not a big deal. And me personally, I don't think it's a big deal. I could understand initially at first why he was upset about Cobra Kai being a dojo. Like in the first 3 seasons, I could understand, because when Johnny did bring him back, it wasn't for good intentions. He brought him back because he was bitter and because he knew Daniel would say something, which Daniel had every right. This is the same guy who bullied him and tormented him in his senior year in high school over a girl and a chick and over a karate tournament. And he's not, to me it seemed like it was just like acting like he wasn't allowed to voice his opinion on how he felt about Johnny bringing back Cobra Kai, which I feel like he's allowed to. Just like how Johnny tried to spill that bullshit about why he originally brought it back in that meeting. I'm bringing it back so kids could find their inner confidence, like I did. Oh, please. The only reason why you're bringing it back is because you're trying to get underneath Daniel's skin. Just say the real truth. Like, stop lying. Like I said, I can understand why Daniel was mad initially, but like I said, but when in the episode, which is why I'm going to talk about the character stuff in a minute, because I'm not done with this episode, done with season 4 stuff. I'm not done with it. But like I said, I can understand initially why Daniel was mad about Cobra Kai and why he kind of couldn't just to Johnny's karate. But I think what pisses me off is that whenever he expresses how he feels about the aggression fighting and like the inner anger fighting, everybody finds it annoying. But when Johnny downplays how Daniel learned karate, it's like it's okay because his karate is boring or whatever. And I feel like it shouldn't be one over the other. If you feel that way, fine. But me personally, I feel like it shouldn't be one over the other. If Daniel was taught how to be spiritually connected with karate, and like he's still doing moves, but it's not like aggressive moves, if that makes sense. Like it's not aggressive moves. Like kind of like the way that John Kreese taught Johnny is like he could kill somebody in a fight if he really wanted to. He could. I can understand that they both were trained differently. It would just be nice if they both can just respect that and just get over it. And that's what I'm just trying to say, that it would just be nice if they eventually got over it, which they did at the end of season 4, where it was just like, it made that whole inter-arguing a complete waste of time because it was just dumb. Like, I just found the whole episode to be really, really stupid. Like, just really dumb. Like, the fact they both try to blame it on alcohol, and then the fact that they both were kind of stuck in their own way, and that neither one of them can step up and admit that they were both stuck in their own way. And I didn't like how Johnny wanted Daniel to admit that he was stuck in his own way as if he's not, which is ridiculous to me. And then when the final scene episode, when Hawk came there, he talked about, see, this is your fault. He said he would have had let them fight back. He said Hawk want to be looking like this. He talked about, and what? End up in a hospital, end up in an injury. Do you remember what happened the last time they went into fights? Come on, Johnny, are you remembering? Dimitri got his arm broke. Sam was scratched with a sharp blade bracelet by Tori. What else happened? She ended up having a PTSD attack. Like, you don't understand. Sometimes it's all about being smart. You have to be smart in a fight. Just because you are allowed to defend yourself doesn't mean you can't be smart about when you choose to pick your battles. And not only that, Sam is always picking fights, and she always ends up getting her ass beat at the end of the situation. Which is like, why would you want that? Why would you want the kids that you're encouraging to pick a fight and lose? And then when they come back here and so that they did lose, you're gonna complain about why didn't you win? Like, it's ridiculous to me. Like, I respect both of their karates. I respect the fact that they're both very different and they're both very advanced. You could use it to their advantage. I just feel like it was so annoying that in season 4, after, if you watch episode 2, they literally did like a whole episode in season 4, episode 2, about them both understanding each other's karate. And then we get to episode 5 and so the writers just forgot about all of that. And like, it was just absurd. So to me, I feel like this entire episode was stupid for them to just make up at the end of season 4. It was dumb. It was a waste of time, and I hated it. I just hated how, like I said, I'll say it again, I hated how both of them couldn't admit that they were wrong. I hated how Johnny wanted Daniel to admit it first, like as if he's not stuck in his own way either. I didn't like how Johnny pretty much was like stuck in the past about the fight they had, the tournament fight they had in 1984. Talk about one lucky kick doesn't make you the better fighter. It's like, dude, get over it. It was a fight in 1984. Why are you so hung up on this fight? Like, you want to run it or something? Like, that's all it was about. I feel like he just really wanted to run it. And it's just like, okay then. But it's like, you don't have to pick a fight to do that. It's like, they already have plenty of fights. It's like, so? And like, I do think Johnny is a better fighter. And I think the reason why I think Johnny is a better fighter is because he don't hold back. I think the writers have Daniel hold back way too much in fights. Not all the time, but majority. Like, he kind of holds back sometimes, just like, come on, finish him. Like, finish him. But I think the Johnny and Daniel portion of the episode really took me off. But the Sam portion of the episode, Sam is so fucking annoying. Sam has made the list of characters that I want to get in the ring and fight. She is annoying. She picks fights. She has a smart ass mouth. She picks fights and then she cries and then she bitches and she complains. And like, she's so annoying. For her to tell him, what did you do? It's like, what did I do? What? As if he didn't do anything? Like, I didn't like that. I didn't like her being like, oh, it was your fault. Like, it's no one's fault. They both need to take accountability. There should be no blaming one over the other. Like, how they both did in the episode. He tell her that he's trying to convince Johnny that Miyagi-Do was the best way. And then in that same episode, Johnny told Miguel that he feel like Cobra Kai, Eagle Fang is the best way to fight. You know, instead of Sam taking the Miguel approach, instead of, she should have been encouraging Daniel to talk to Johnny about making it work. But instead, she wants to egg it on by just being a fucking bitch and a brat, talking about, Miyagi-Do is all about not defending yourself and running away from a fight. It's like, what? It's not about running away. It's about just defending yourself. It's about being smart, in my opinion. I feel like the karate that Daniel teaches is about being smart. Johnny, his karate is about, striking first. Like, just don't, like, if someone got beef with you, like, don't, if they call you out, make sure you're ready to box. Like, make sure you're ready to step in the paint. Like, I thought that's really what his karate is about. Like, pretty much just, like, knowing what you're getting yourself into when you fight. And, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But for her to just try to blame it all on Daniel, I was not fucking with. Like, she is really fucking annoying. And then, like, for her to talk about, if you would have had to let us fight them, we wouldn't be stuck in this predicament. It's like, well, if you can come back here and cry again about getting your ass beat, it's like, sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and stop putting your 2 cents in it. Like, just sit down. Sam was annoying in this episode. I'm not saying that she had to choose a side, because that's how Daniel and Johnny made it seem like, whose side are you on? It's like, it shouldn't have to be a side. Y'all are both of their senseis. Y'all should be showing these kids how to get along. Not saying that if you do work with people, you're not gonna always agree with them or anything like that. But if y'all supposed to come together and be here for the kids, y'all should be doing whatever it takes to work through it. like I said, I don't think Sam took the Miguel approach in this. Like, she should really took the Miguel approach and just try to talk to Daniel and try to convince him to rethink the fight. But Johnny being Johnny, he posted it. He actually had like a whole fighting montage of everything. I think it was like a Rocky montage of him wanting to do this, and like I feel like he should just, when he came back in there and he talked about, okay, maybe there is a different way. I was thinking like, okay, because maybe Miguel got to him. I'm like, all right, but when Daniel when Daniel said there is only one way, and that is the Magado way, I hated how the writers made it seem like Johnny is not stuck in his way either. And like you said, you're the one who cut off this fight, so are we gonna run it or what? Like, I feel like I'm giving you what you want. You wanted this fight, so let's just do it. Like, come on. And like, I just like everything about this episode it just pissed me off. Like, everyone was getting on my nerves because it just felt like it was a 10 steps back from where they were in the beginning, and I hated that. So there's that. I feel like in this episode, everybody was in the wrong, and yet the writers trying to make it seem like Daniel was the only one in the wrong, which is like, because you can't be that small-minded to not see that everyone in this episode is not right. I understand that Daniel, he's a little controlling, but so is Johnny. He's controlling. He wants it to be a certain way. Everything, they both do, and like it shouldn't be one person not recognizing that over the other. And I feel like instead of them arguing, they should have come together for the kids, in my opinion. Now, let's get to what I believe to be favoritism between the both of them. I'm trying to understand how I can express this the best way I can. A lot of people don't like Daniel. I know some people really don't like when they say that. I think the reason why, if I could just put it in this terms with Daniel, that I think a lot of people don't like him, and I think the reason why is because he is flawed. And I kind of realized that we live in a world now where characters are hated for being flawed, which is absurd to me. Because if you're a human being, you're supposed to be flawed. There are going to be things that people are not going to be like about you. And I also find it absurd when people say that he doesn't change. It's like, that's absurd to me, because if he doesn't change, he wouldn't have not been willing to work with Johnny. He wouldn't have not been willing to put half the kids who were in Cobra Kai on his team. He wouldn't have not been willing to work with Robbie again after Robbie shut him out. Like, that's absurd to me. To say Daniel didn't change, that's absurd to me. That he eventually did work with Johnny. He worked with Chosen. Like, he was able to trust Chosen, Mike Barnes, all the people that he eventually had beef with, and some of the kids that he believed were way too full in their manipulation to be re-guided. He eventually re-guided them, and he eventually worked with people that he thought he would never be able to work with, like Johnny and like Chosen and Mike Barnes. I find it ridiculous. I can understand that in the first 3 seasons, that I definitely feel like it was Johnny's time, and like, to me, that's how I see it. I think in the first 2 seasons, it was the Johnny seasons. I thought seasons 4, 5, and 6 were the Daniel seasons, in my opinion. I can understand that his storylines weren't as big as Johnny's, but there were points in seasons like 2 and 3 where Johnny really wasn't doing anything too interesting either. Like season 2, that whole storyline of him going to go see his friend, I didn't care for that. I can honestly care less about that. Sorry, my mom is texting me. Sorry, I may be quiet. What was I saying? This is what I talk about. I hate being interrupted because then I lose track. Well, yeah, that's what I was saying about Johnny. That half the time he's not doing anything too important either. Like, outside of they finally decided to step out of like the dealership stuff with Daniel and focus more on the karate stuff, him going back to his roots, and like him being patient on maybe if kids do want to learn a different style and learn a different way of balance and everything like that, and how to work together as a team, then I'll take that, because some of the leadership stuff wasn't interesting to me in the beginning. I still watched it, but it's like, really? That kind of was. But I think a lot of people don't like him because he's flawed, and I just feel like, you don't like him, okay, I can't change that for you. Me personally, I do. I'm not saying that I agree with all of the errors of his ways, but I can't help but feel like, and I remember Ralph Macchio mentioning this in an interview, that he wanted to bring him back as a little arrogant and a little like a rich snob because he was selling cars now, which I just feel like, what a way to pretty much decrease a character. Everybody loved Daniel LaRusso. We love the underdog in the Karate Kid films. And they could please just change that by making him rich. And to me, I feel like it's just such a one-minded thing to think, such a closed-minded thing to think that all rich people are just these stuck-up, arrogant people. Like, I feel that's just such a closed-minded way to think about rich people. And it's just like, really? Like, you were gonna make... It was like they were intentionally trying to make him like the bad guy and like make Johnny the good guy, because if you watch season 1, the way that Johnny pretty much lies to Miguel about everything that happened in 1984 on that beach, to me is like absurd. The writers really tried to make it seem like Daniel was this bad guy for being chivalrous and trying to get with Allie. Like, are you kidding me? The guy, he's the bad guy in this. When Johnny and his friends were bullying him every week, they almost killed him. And he's the bad guy? You're not going to manipulate me and gaslight me into thinking about any of that. Sorry, no. Or how about the fact that he tried to make it seem, Miguel tried to make it seem like Daniel grew up with all this money when he didn't. You grew up with all that money, not me. Me and my mom didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. I mean, yeah, she had a job, but like, dude, they were pushing their car into the street to get it to fucking work because of their stick. Like, are you sitting? I already mentioned that. Johnny lying, I didn't fuck with. And then, like, when Daniel told me to get the truth, it's like, this is the real story. This is the real tea. This is what really happened that day. I'm like, the day in 1984 on the beach. I'm like, this is what really happened. Like, Johnny didn't mention, I'm like, any of that. And, like, they kind of, like, reversed the roles. Like, Daniel's kind of the rich snob and everything like that. And, like, Johnny is, like, I guess the poor person living a day-to-day job and everything like that. Like, pretty much trying to get you to choose a side, which is like, why can't I like both characters? Why do I have to choose one over the other? And that to me just seems like favoritism. Why choose one over the other, in my opinion? I actually really like both characters. I really do. I think I think he is funny. I think he is really funny. I do like the stuff with him. I love the dynamic between him and John Kreese. I know that's weird to say that, but pretty much knowing that Johnny was really much, he was kind of a failed child, if I could say that. Like, I would say he's somewhat a man-child, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Because he was let down a lot in his life. He was let down by his stepfather. His mom died, who he cared about and loved so much. She died. He felt like he failed her, but not really doing anything with his life. And his stepfather Sid is pretty much a prick and an ass. And, you know, I feel like he was a man-child because he kind of didn't know how to express himself. I think that kid in him never really got over the shit that he went through when he grew up and everything. And that sucks. It really does suck. But I feel like that's just because he did have all that stuff going on. Doesn't mean that should be an excuse for the bullying or the torment he put on Daniel or some of the actions that he does in the show. And I feel like some people like to use that as an excuse, like, oh, how are you supposed to know how to teach kids if he was never taught the right way? You're an adult. Right for wrong is a real thing, people. Right for wrong is a real thing. Learn it, live it, love it. I don't know what else to say. That's like an excuse to me to say that how he's supposed to learn how to teach kids if he was never taught. Hello? Learn right from wrong? How hard is that? And that was just like my biggest problem with him. I would say in the first 2 seasons is that his morality seemed to change every 5 fucking minutes, which got really annoying. At least you know what Daniel you're gonna get what you're gonna get. Like, he's self-righteous. At least I'll take that over him changing his morality every 5 minutes about how he feels about this, how he feels about that, and da 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 da. Like, it was just dumb. And like, I definitely feel like they did right him to think that he was better than Johnny because he did have money, which is go back to my whole just a closed-minded way to think about people who have money. And even like he's like rich. He just has me personally. It feels like I would say he's wealthy. I guess wealthy isn't any different from rich, but like ain't like they living in some goddamn mansion. Like, are you serious? Like, ain't like they living in some goddamn mansion. It's weird. Like, it's weird to me that Johnny kind of looked down at him for being rich when it's like, you were rich. Like he told Miguel, I was jealous of all those rich kids because of how they treated me. They treated me like I was less than. And like, I feel like it was just, it's just weird. Like you said, I was treated less than because I wasn't rich. And like I just said, the writing is so confusing. It's like as if they're trying to make it seem like on some extent Daniel thinks he's better because he's made it, and I feel like no one should ever feel bad for making it. Like, basically what I say is like he kind of lost his humility. Like, he kind of lost the humility in him, and I feel like him going to Miss Miyagi's grave made him find that humility in himself and everything like that. And like, it's just weird that people would think that way about him, but how about in the Karate Kid movies? Like, they don't even mention in the show how Johnny thought that he was better than Daniel because he had all that money. Like, they don't even mention that. The whole Johnny being rich thing seems to not even be talked about. And it's like they act right in Johnny like as if he grew up in. And me personally, he don't even live in no motel. He live in an apartment. Like, that's not even poor. People live in an apartment every day. That's not poor. You know how much it costs to live in an apartment? It's not cheap. And like, it's not cheap. It's expensive to live in an apartment. You gotta have a roommate just to make it through an apartment. Like, everything. Like, I don't get it. Like, I definitely feel like it's a favoritism thing between them. Like, I definitely feel like that. Like, I feel like in the first 2 seasons I was just watching the Johnny show, and it kind of got annoying because it's like it's not just Daniel. Like, even though I do feel like Daniel did have stuff to do, but like, that's still no excuse for not giving him a stronger plot. Like, if he's not good teaching karate, they got him doing shit at the dealership. It's like, you can't have him do something else. I'm like, can you come up with anything else outside the dealership? Anything else outside the dealership? Anything? Like, if he's not in karate, he's in a dealership. Like, and I don't, like, on some extent, I don't care about dealership shit. Like, I really don't care about it. Or like I said, there's a whole episode in season 2 about him trying to make things right with his wife. It's like, okay, that's cute, that's romantic, it's fine. But can we see a better storyline? A better side plot? That's what I'm talking about. They waste all those side plots on bullshit. I cannot believe the side plots they waste. I can't think of one good side plot they probably had in the whole show. Trying to think. There were probably some in season 6 a little bit. Like, some of the stuff in season 6 wasn't that bad. And like I said, season 1 I'm not gonna be too hard on. But everything after season 1, I cannot think of one interesting side plot. Not one. Actually, no, that's not true. Well, no, that don't count because to me that's the main storyline. I just think of season 3 when Daniel was in Okinawa, but that to me was the only interesting thing in episodes 3 and 4 because everything else was just like, what are we doing? They're focusing on the kids and like they're not really doing much and like I don't care. Those episodes were very Sam based and I don't care about Sam. Like, again, I forgot to mention the soccer fight. I got to mention that too. That she picked a fight on the soccer field and then when she got detention, she acting all stupid. What? How could you give me detention? It's like, girl, after you picked a fight on the soccer field, shut the fuck up. But like, I definitely feel like there's favoritism between him and Johnny because I just feel like Johnny, he's funny. Yeah, the dynamic he got with Miguel and like that and stuff, but Robbie, I'm all for that. I love that, but I kind of hate how Daniel and Robbie's relationship dynamic got pushed out of the show completely. The writers completely forgot about that, and they just forgot that him and Robbie were like close, and like him and Miguel, like they forgot that him and Miguel were had a relationship in season 4, and then season 5 and 6 that seems kind of like non-existent, and it's absurd to me, really. I'm happy that Johnny got the house and the family because he deserves it, and I'm happy that towards the end of the show, Daniel was able to work with Johnny and work with people and still have his balance no matter what. No matter what. But I feel that does not change the fact that I just feel like that whenever Johnny does something, there seems to be like, it seems to always be justified instead of seen as a problem. And I'm going to give you an example. Pretty much, if I had to come up with a situation where I feel like it was justified instead of seen as a problem, and that was when, sorry, my mouth is dry. I remember the Valley competition thing. I remember when he crashed that, I was so pissed off because I remember just feeling like it wasn't that big of a deal. I can understand that he wanted to let people know that first of all, it made no sense for him to crash it because everybody knows what Cobra Kai is. They already have a website, so that kind of didn't make sense when I think about it. Like, wait, that don't make sense. Why would they need to come here and put on a show about their karate, about who they are, when they have a website and people know who Cobra Kai is? That didn't make sense. But whatever. I know like people was like, the performance was like boring and everything. And it's like, why? Because like they're not fighting people? Because what, they're not flipping in the air? It's just like, it's so irritating. Like, it's so annoying to me. But whatever. I feel like when Johnny crashed that, he didn't apologize for it. He didn't apologize for being an asshole. He didn't apologize for doing it out of spite and being petty. Like, he didn't apologize for any of that. That was completely justified because he got upset about Daniel posting a video about joining Miyagi-Do. About, there's not a karate dojo out here and it is Miyagi-Do. You know what? That was not justified. But that's say if Daniel would have done what, that's say the roles reversed. That's say if Johnny had Cobra Kai perform what they performed, like flipping in the air and like fire and all that shit they was doing. If Daniel would have had came and interrupted that, people would have had a fucking field day. And y'all know I'm right. This is something that is not new when it comes to characters. I talked about this on my channel from as long as I can remember. From One Tree Hill, from Gossip Girl, to any show you could think of where there is amount of favoritism and double standard towards a character over another one. There's some of Degrassi. There's double standards in Degrassi. You won't believe it. It seems to me that a character seems to be more hated when they are flawed, when they do make mistakes. And I feel like, what's wrong with a character making mistakes and learning from them? And even if they recognize it later, at least they recognize it. I would much rather like a character who is flawed and treated like a human being, because human beings make mistakes and they have to learn from them, the easy way or the hard way, than liking somebody whose actions seem to be always justified no matter what they do, like Johnny. To me, in my opinion, I feel like whenever he does something, it's always seemed like justified or it's always seemed like a joke, and I just feel like it's not a joke sometimes. It's really not. Like, it's him coming there and crashing that wasn't right, or I feel like him not giving enough to him. We found out what Chris did to the dojo. He didn't apologize to Daniel for that. He didn't do any of that. He didn't apologize for any of that. Even though he wasn't behind it, he still knew Chris did it, and he knew what they did to it. He knew that Hawk But no, he didn't know Hawk stole the Medal of Honor. But he knew that Hawk and them did spray paint that car that Miss Miyagi gave him. He knew how much that meant to him, and like he never apologized for John Cleese's actions to me. Or how it's back in season 6 that he broke up Miss Miyagi twice to get under Daniel's skin, and he didn't apologize. Well, that's not true. He did apologize for it. When Daniel came back, he did apologize. But I feel like in that moment right there then, it seemed like it's just justified. The fact that someone could make a whole video about Daniel being a bully is ridiculous to me. I find that to be ridiculous. Like that dude said, it was a video this guy made. Are you really gonna sit here and tell me that Daniel is the bully? Really? I find that to be absurd. I think that it's definitely a hurtism thing in this show, and like I can't rest without thinking that it's not, and because it is. So I'm glad I got that off my chest because I've already made a video about it in season 2 about the problems that I was starting to have, and it fired me up. I was really fired up in that video. I'm more calm and collected now, but it's annoying to me still. Like I said, even like in seasons 1, 2, and 3, Daniel still has stuff to do, but it seemed not as important as what Johnny is doing, and I feel like why can't both characters be doing important things? Well, that's not true. In season 2 and 3, Daniel had a lot more to do, in my opinion, so that's not technically true. Well, I still feel like seasons 1, 2, and 3 were still like the Johnny seasons because he had so much on his plate, like the stuff with Miguel and stuff with John Kreese and having a relationship with Miguel's mom and all that. Like, it feels like he had more on his plate. But I still feel like Daniel still had more to do. But like, it felt like they were like, okay, the first season was going to be Johnny-based seasons, and then seasons 4, 5, 6 would be Daniel-based seasons. And that's just kind of how I saw it. But that's just me. And you had to ask me who I like more between the two of them. I would have to say Daniel because I like the fact that he seems to be more flawed to me, and like I like to see him come out of that. Where with Johnny is that you're meant to feel bad for him when half the time when he's the one who starts shit first. He starts a lot of shit first, and you're meant to feel bad for him. Then it's like they want you to be on his side, then make him take accountability. And half the time I'm just thinking like, not feeling what he just did, not really feeling it. But as with Daniel, when he does something, it seems as annoying. It seems like he's being a hater, he's doing too much, he's being petty. When it's like Johnny does the exact same things that he does. So, like I said, if things were reversed, if Daniel would have done half the things that Johnny did, y'all have been having a field day. And I know I'm right. I just feel like it's about time we stop the favoritism, we stop the double standards. I don't care about who you like more one over the other. I just feel like we should be holding characters from the same compatibility. If Daniel does something out of line and you want to go ham on him, you should be doing the same thing to Johnny. Period, point blank. And that's where it stands with me. I am more of a Daniel girl, and that's because I did watch the Karate Kid film, so I was more attached to his character than Johnny, and because I love Ralph Macchio, so that's a personal bonus. But I feel like if you like Johnny more, I don't care. I'm not going to even hate that because I love Johnny. I can't say anything bad, like really bad about his character outside the fact that I feel like his morality changes, and I feel like he don't take accountability for a lot of his actions, and I hate the fact that he can never admit that he's wrong sometimes. So, but it's crazy when people say, "Oh my God, Daniel's so annoying, I can't like him." Why? Because he's flawed, and why? Because they acknowledge the fact that he can be flawed sometimes. Unlike Johnny, who anyone should feel sorry for because his life didn't turn out the way it was, which is like, just because your life didn't turn out the way it was doesn't mean they gave you a right to be a prick and be an asshole and pick fights or blame a man for you not doing that with your life, which I feel like is absurd. Like, it's not Daniel's fault that Johnny didn't do anything with his life. It's not Daniel's fault that Johnny didn't pick himself up by the bootstraps and do something with his life. Period. It's not Daniel's fault that Johnny decided to hang on to a fight that happened over 30-some years ago. It's not Daniel's fault, and he should not be seen as a bully or a stuck-up snob because he made it. That's ridiculous, and that's how they wrote it, which is dumb. But I am about to sign off because I have things to do before I lay down. I'm going to see y'all next time, but I really had to make this video because this was weighing so heavy on my chest when I was watching Cobra Kai today. I'm thinking, like, I cannot rest until I make a rant about this. So, y'all let me know what y'all feel in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.